paper magic will survive like the heat death of the universe, and will...
Oh, it's a smuggler's copter. Would you like to crew this? And then it crashes because they don't understand arithmetic.
All your cards belong to me.
2 minutes into macing him in the eyeballs, I switched to pepper spray. He's like, that's all right, refreshing. And went back to the mace.
Magic is dying. I'm done. Selling everything.
I might be a hoarder. And yes,
I don't have the crayons or glue to explain this to you right now.
What, are you gonna die twice?
Oil will be worthless before magic cards will.
Well, okay, Dr. Man.
That's Mr. Dr. Professor Jason.
We're going to start this week with a little story time. This is how, people talk about how do you know when you wanted to do what you do. And in this case, let's talk about Magic Finance, right? Or
Wait. You have to tell the story in ASMR voice.
Anyways, back to this story. This is how I knew I was always going to be a value grinder. So I'm in the 9th grade, and first through 8th grade, my school always had a huge carnival. All the kids from around came around. They filled the gym, the classrooms, the other spaces in the church. Huge deal. Thousands of people over the course of the day it ran or whatever, right? It was great, and I loved it. My mom was always involved with it. I got to eat all the candy at the end. But however, that was first through 8th grade while I was there at that school, that Catholic school. Then I get to 9th grade. I'm a hotshot freshman. I decide I want to go back to the carnival because it was just so much fun. But then I realize, these tickets that you use to play all the games at the booth, they're just generic raffle tickets.
Oh.
Okay, yeah. Oh, boy.
So I went to Party Galaxy and I bought the same color.
I've heard this story before, many years ago.
Did you defraud a church carnival?
But here's the thing: you got to understand. You got to understand. Yes, I did. All right, then it is time for breaking bulk. Before we get into everything else, let's break some bulk. I'll go first.
Breaking bulk time. Breaking bulk time. Break.
Oh, yeah, breaking bulk. There's so much good stuff.
It's a pick. Breaking bulk. The end.
I have a card that was most recently printed in Ultimate Masters, was originally printed in Future Sight. And it's an uncommon land.
Modern Masters, Future Sight, Uncommon Land?
Ultimate Masters.
Ultimate Masters.
Is it the
For what it's worth, it was also in Modern
Masters. Dakmor Salvage.
It is Dakmor Salvage.
Yeah.
So this card kind of died a little after the last reprint. After the Ultimate Masters reprint, it went from being $1 or whatever to being kind of a 50-cent card that at the beginning wasn't even on buy list for very strongly, but it has kind of climbed up to 50, 60, 75 cents again, and it's back in that sweet spot of being a solid pick. So Dakmor Salvage in Ultimate Masters and Modern Masters and Future Sight, there's even a dual deck version floating around.
It also used to be a modern card.
Yeah, it's not so much. Here's the thing: it's not so much a modern playable card anymore. It's not great in any Eternal format these days. But what it does do, and one of the reasons I think it's seen just a tiny bit of movement over the past week or two, is that it can play nicely with some of the double face cards, right? The cards that have synergy with your modal double face lands are probably also going to have synergy with the Dakmor Salvage type card. So people are experimenting a little more with their mana bases in Commander. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are playing with this a little bit more. But either way, it is back up off the floor, so to speak, and is now a solid pick again.
Boom.
Seems good.
I got a black card too.
Okay.
This is a black common with 3 printings. 2 of them were dual decks.
It's a black what?
Black common instant. 3 printings, 2 of them were dual decks.
Well, what's the original printing?
I'll tell you, the dual decks were...
I was going to say, and he's excluding the original.
Versus Liliana and... Oh, shoot, dual deck anthology. So
Snuff
it was just
Snuff
2
Out.
printings.
Snuff Out.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, Snuff Out is in that deck. That's a good one, though. That card's great.
Yeah. It's a non-mana way to kill a creature.
Well, and free spells in Commander these days are at a premium, right? With the Guardian, with the cycle they printed in the last one. Everyone's playing free spells these days.
But this is definitely played in a deck that I want to talk about a little later in the episode. So this is like a $3 card with 2 printings. So it's worth knowing about.
All right, mine is much different.
Okay.
It is an Ice Age rare with no other reprints.
Despotic Scepter.
No.
No clue.
Really? Shit, I was real confident. What color is it?
It doesn't have one.
And it's not Despotic Scepter.
Correct.
Is it one of those land depletion land?
Nope. I'm looking this up to make sure. Okay, yeah, I'm correct. It doesn't have any other reprints.
And
Not a
is
clue
it an
what's in that
artifact
set, my
or
man.
not? Is it an artifact?
It's an artifact. Corbin, if you had a clue what was in this set, I don't think you'd get this card.
Zoran Orb?
Okay, good to know.
No.
It's not Zoran Orb.
You're talking about playable cards. This is not.
Despotic Scepter was a bulk rare until this
Snow
week.
covered plains.
It's a rare, so no.
I see.
Goodness.
Snow covered scrub.
Arkham Slay.
No.
I don't know, dude. What is it? I was so sure that I was gonna get you. I windmilled that Despotic Scepter.
Amulet of Quaz.
Okay.
It's an ante card. It's banned in everything.
And it's still $1.
It's a 6-mana artifact. That's an ante card.
Correct. And
It is
the
$1.
TCG player market price is $1.09.
DJ, why did this spike?
I do not know.
Okay.
Is it on the reserved list?
Is it on the reserve list? That's the question.
Maybe 6-mana artifact, remove it from your deck if you're not playing for ante. Pay 0, tap and sacrifice it only during your upkeep. Flip a coin, target opponent calls heads or tails.
It's on the reserved list.
Okay.
It's got really
if the flip
ugly art.
If the
Yeah,
flip
it's
ends
pretty
in your
bad.
favor, that opponent loses the game. Otherwise, you lose the game. Use this ability only during your upkeep. The opponent may ante an additional card to counter this effect.
What a stupid card. But it is on the
if
reserve
you
list.
find
and it's
Ice
worth
Age
$1.
bulk, just know that it's on the reserve list and you pick it. And honestly, because it's on the reserve list, just don't sell it. Wait for somebody on Reddit to make a post
Yeah.
and then sell it for $5.
If
Yeah,
you
probably.
find Ice Age bulk, chances are it wasn't picked well because anything that didn't have like the colored expansion symbols, people leave shitty cards in bulk all the time and not knowing the rares.
It's true. It is much harder to pick for people
A
that
rare's
way.
20 times the bulk rate, so like, hooray, you win.
Yep.
The whole row is a winner now.
That's an interesting way to look at it, Jason. I don't usually when I'm picking, I don't necessarily look at it that way, but that is an interesting.
I mean,
There
calculation
was
you
this
can do.
comedian that's like, I was in Vegas, they had something called penny slots. He's like, why even have penny slots? Why not have just a guy at the door with a $1 bill? It's like, jackpot, you're a winner. And I think of that every time I find like a bulk rare. I was like, God,
Yeah.
jackpot. It's like, look at me. I'm
It does
picking
feel like
bulk.
that though.
It's like, ooh, I found
That
a
is the-
dollar. Like, it's
That is the fun of picking bulk though, right? And that's what we're talking about. Like at the beginning of the episode, I was so happy I got my value then. You have to feel the same way now, where you make $8 on a one row, for 1,000 cards that you paid $5 for, and
Yeah.
you won. You did it.
Well,
you feel
you-
great.
You're,
That's
you're making $8 off of watching a Netflix show. Like that's
yeah.
it's beer money.
I was gonna ignore teaching my daughter to read regardless, but now I made $8 not teaching my daughter to read.
There you go. Well, let's move
Somehow
in.
she got Snapchat on her iPad. I don't know how she got that.
Well, let's move in to talk about Commander Legends. But before we do, I do want to point out that our friends at the Original Magic Art Store have something new. They have a Foglio portfolio. It's a project that they've launched
portfolio?
over at
wait,
OMA.
Corbin.
Yeah.
Corbin, can you say that like 5 times really fast?
Foglio
please?
portfolio, Foglio portfolio, Foglio portfolio, Foglio portfolio, Foglio portfolio. I'm a professional broadcaster, sir.
nailed
Of course
it.
I can say that.
That
5
was
times
pretty
Ladies
fast.
and
yeah.
gentlemen, the voice of Hobby Lobby. Say Hobby Lobby 5 times fast.
No, I've already shown off enough.
Hobby Lobby, 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 Hobby Lobby.
I do want to talk about, though, you should go check out originalmagicart.store. Look for the Foglio portfolio. So the playmats are all signed, stitched edged, limited edition. It's definitely something to check out if you are at all interested in having some great playmats with some of your favorite art on them. And this is a pretty good one. They've good value. We've already seen some of these actually go for a couple $100s on eBay. And as a reminder, if you're interested, you can use the Brew Crew coupon code to pick it up. So go to originalmagicart.store and check out all of your favorite art. If you want it on a playmat, if you want it on a print, that's your place to go.
And that's not
I'm a
just
professional
coupon code, that
broadcast.
is-
I'm a professional broadcaster. Coupon code. Coupon code.
Really, I
Coupon.
was gonna do part of the pitch, and you're just gonna make fun of him for saying coupon. Most people say coupon. It's wrong. They're wrong. But there are more of us than there are of them. There are more of them than there are of us. So, like, what are we gonna do? The coupon people, they keep their mask with their nose out of it. Like, there's nothing we can do. What I was gonna say is, like, look, it's not just a coupon code. Brew Crew is our affiliate link that directly supports the cast. If you're not interested in being someone who goes to patreon.com/BSB and giving us money directly, what if you could support this podcast by going to YouTube, Twitch, following us on Twitch, liking us on YouTube, or going and buying a playmat with some Foglio portfolio art that you really like, and just using that code so that, you know, you support the cast by doing something you were going to do anyway. That is a, you know, that's a way to support this podcast that doesn't involve giving us money directly. So
That's right. We
go get
appreciate
something
that.
you were going to get anyway, a nice looking Phil Foglio cooperation or apathy, or honestly, like, if there's an apathy mat, I will buy that for one of our patrons. So, like, that's something to think about. Get something you were going to get anyway. Support this podcast. So it's not just a coupon code; it's also a direct support of this podcast.
All right. Well, we put it off long enough. Let's talk Commander Legends. I have a couple tweets
Why have we
that
been
I want to
putting it
share.
off? This set is bonkers.
I have a couple of tweets I want to share first.
Okay.
The first one is from me. I said, this was a couple weeks ago. I said, I'm really sitting here worrying about how they're going to 2020 the Commander format. This is before we knew anything about Commander Legends. Jason made a tweet I wanted to highlight as well. The other is a tweet that Jason made a while back that I think really summed it up pretty well. So, Jason, if you want to take that, it was clever. I wanted to give you some credit. What was the
I
tweet?
never got into Brawl because I don't like the idea of not being able to play my cards after a year. That's why I prefer EDH, an eternal, non-rotating format where 90% of the staples are printed after 2018.
I wish that wasn't a true statement, man, but it really is.
I mean, it's not true.
So
if
we
you go
look
to
at Commander Legends.
EDHREC.com, a lot of the staples are much older than that, which is what every reply to that
Right,
tweet
but-
was. Is like, oh, EDHREC? What's this? Tell me about this magical website. So, like, that was fun, too. I made a funny tweet with lots of engagement, and then I got people to tell me about my day job.
people? Yeah, like, have you played people who are playing a bunch of 2019, 2020 Magic cards in a game of Commander? They just have so much value on them. It's ridiculous.
I mean,
but
smothering
so
time.
it is what it is, right? And we're not going to spend this episode complaining about that. We've talked about what we think of where Magic design is at
Hey,
before.
this might
but
be
I
an
do wanna give
unpopular
that credit
opinion, but
because-
I like good Magic cards. So when they make good
I
Magic
mean,
cards, I'm
I
sort of
think
like,
that there's-
how do I feel about it? I like it.
I think that there's a balance, and I think that I don't think that anybody is on either extreme of the spectrum, but I think that Wizards very consciously moved, if, like, you know, we're going to print at a 7 power level, and some things will be on both sides of that, and some will break into, they're like, no, now everything's a 10. So, I mean, it's only a couple degrees difference, but it makes a big difference when I look at Commander and I have to cut all these old cards I liked because the new ones are just so much better. But you know what? That is what it is, and I don't want to spend this episode complaining about it. I do want to spend this time talking about Commander Legends, though.
There are so
and
few
what we
10s,
think about
though, because
everything
it's
there.
like, take out your dumb Haymaker 7 mana thing, and here's another dumb Haymaker 7 mana thing.
It costs 5, though.
I mean, yeah, it costs 5.
It's been
now,
great.
but,
It's
like,
been great for my Mael deck because the problem with the Mael deck was that it always had these expensive creatures you wanted to cheat into play,
And now you
sometimes
have
just
Apex
drew 'em.
Devastator.
Well, and the thing is now
It doesn't trigger when you Mael it, but like my other decks have.
Well, the thing is now with all the new cards, there's just such powerful creatures. They're basically the same power level as the 7 and 8 mana creatures, and they just cost 5 though. That's great. It's great for Mael. So that is what it is. So let's talk though about the big one first.
Opposition agent.
Yep.
Is that the black card?
That's a controversial card too, and you know what the terrible
is.
thing about Opposition Angel, it was designed in a world where Hillary Clinton used Barack Obama's pandemic response plan, and like we could play this set at the LGS by the time October rolled around. But we don't live in that fucking world. We live in a world where people who dropped out of high school use the phrase herd immunity. And they think it means when your grandmother dies. So we can't play this at the LGS. So you have to play opposition on webcam where it's very clunky. And that is probably the worst thing about this card is how clunky it is not being able to physically look through.
All right, so
someone's
look,
deck.
but pandemic aside, this card is awesome, right? It's a 3/2 for flash for 3. You control your opponents while they're searching libraries. When they're searching, exile each card they find. You may play those cards so you can spend mana over any color. This is what I'm talking about power level wise. This is a super staple. This card is absurd.
It's a counter spell to a tutor, but like
it's better than all of these things. Whatever you're going to compare it to, it's better than that.
Yeah,
I'm
but like
playing
it's
it
good
in
because
Sig
it's
and
like
I'm attacking with it.
Don't
It's better
start
than
none,
Shadow of Doubt,
won't
which
be
is-
none. That is my EDH ethos. Don't start
Don't
none,
tutor,
won't be none.
don't tutor, and
That's
you won't be
why
able to
I like
steal their
Helm
tutor.
of Possession. If I Helm of Possession
Yeah.
like a Crawl Worm, it's because you played a Crawl Worm. But if I get a Blightsteel Colossus, you were trying to hit me with a Blightsteel Colossus, and now I'm hitting you. Is that unfair? Don't start none, won't be none. So if you're gonna like tutor for some BS, guess what? Now the only thing I
it's
don't like
also-
about Opposition Agent is it lends itself to a very boring Marilyn of the Mornsong deck, but there was already a boring Marilyn of the Mornsong deck.
Okay,
6
just to
years
clarify,
ago,
it's
we
also
got
a
over it.
strip mine. This is also a strip mine. People play fetch lands.
Well,
Even
wait,
if they're just
Yeah.
panoramas, people play fetch lands.
JJ, can you edit a 10-gallon hat onto Jason when he says that?
Says what?
Say it again.
What did I say?
Say the phrase.
What do you
I
say?
don't remember what I
Thus-
said.
What do you
Don't
say?
start none, don't get none, or something like that.
Oh,
Don't
don't start
start
none,
none,
won't
won't be none.
Come
Woohoo!
on, man.
Yeah,
Everyone knows that. Look, I really do love the design of Opposition Agent. I wish it had maybe been caught. I don't love that it's a strip mine. I don't know if there's another way to template the card. Maybe you make it cost 4 mana instead of 3. Maybe you don't
no
give
one's
it
gonna.
flash.
No one's gonna use this as a strip mine. This is a strip
I
mine.
will.
Always stifles a
I
strip
will.
mine. Who gives a shit?
You always use this card as a strip mine. Like if you it's turn 3, your opponent's somebody's going to tutor, they're going to fetch, they're going to do something. And
They are
you will
going to
always
try
use it
to
as
play
strip mine.
a Kadama's reach, and then you're going to reach into their butt with your whole
Yeah.
fist.
That's insane. Now, you may play those cards, by the way. Not you may cast those cards. You may play those cards. You literally get to steal somebody's fetch lane. This is an incredible super
Gonti
staple
is
type
happy.
card. I love
Well,
it.
I'm actually. So the thing about Gonti with this is I can't put it in Gonti until somebody accidentally drives over one in their back.
Yeah, I'll try to get one and see if I can be very careless with it.
Don't
for
worry,
you,
people
DJ.
are opening packs that have opposition agents that can go right in your Gonti deck.
I actually drafted Commander Legends last week. We had a small group and we were able to draft and play a pod, and it was pretty fun. I have to say, it had I don't think it should be a 40 life format. I understand why it is, but we all felt like it was too much because you're playing. It's a 40 life format, but you're playing with limited cards essentially. You know, so like at some point, attack you with my 3/2, and the game took a very long time. But it was a lot of fun. Monarch is obviously a great mechanic in these type of formats. The draft was really enjoyable, I think, where you take 2 cards from each pack and you find your commanders that you want and you build around them. Like I actually really enjoyed the process of playing and building and drafting. It was enjoyable. So I bought a case of this set, so I guess you can say I liked it that much. I don't know the last time I did that. What else? What else
I
stands
ordered
out to you all?
a bunch of boxes of this set from a site called channelfireball.com, where I sent them a box, they sent me a box. I sent them a box that had just a bunch of unsorted BS in it. The cards were facing different ways or upside down. I didn't care. I was like, cards. And they're like, what? I'm like, cards. They're like, are they set, sorted, and alphabetized? And I went, no. Give me store credit. And they're like, all right, you know what? We're Channel Fireball. It's hard to get cards right now. We can't go to Grand Prix right now. It's hard for us to get cards. What we're willing to do is just do all the stuff that a normal human adult that doesn't have poop in their pants should be able to do. And I would just sort them. So I just threw stuff in a box. I wrote their address on the label. It got there. And they took care of the rest. They set, sorted, and alphabetized. They categorized everything. They told me exactly how much they were putting into my account. And I used that money to buy a bunch of boxes of this set and have them sent to me. So if you're someone that wants to maximize every dollar, hey, maybe go make an eBay account and sell the stuff there. But if you are someone that just likes playing Magic the Gathering, would like to do it affordably, what you can do to turn a bunch of crap you're not using into booster boxes of the new set, why not take Channel Fireball up on their offer of we will do literally all the work for you. Throw everything in a box, nice. Send it to them. Like, no one else is doing this. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, it is a great promotion for sure.
Pretend it's a channel, fireball it off to them. Just fire it off, and they'll ball all of it for you, and they will channel the money into your account, and then you can use it for whatever you'd like. You can get money or store credit. Either way is probably fine, because it's just piles. Look at the piles behind me. Look at those piles. What if that could just be boxes of stuff I actually like? Just put.
Easier to
I'm
sort.
sorting. Why am I sorting? I'm an idiot. Just put it all in a box. Send it to Channel Fireball, and they will be like, "Yeah, we're into it." That's our favorite thing, is to just sit in a warehouse, wearing a mask, watching Netflix, and just sort everything for you. So let them do it. Put it in a box. Send it to them. Get boxes. Be happy.
There you go. Like, it's Boxception. Let's talk about
what is Boxception?
It's Boxception. You get the boxes, you get more boxes. It's all boxes all the way down.
I don't get it. I thought Boxception.
Charlie Day.
What? Charlie.
It made sense, man.
All right.
It made sense.
I shouldn't have.
Let's talk about.
I didn't have anything
in the room,
funnier than what you said to step on what you said with. So like, just cut.
Yeah,
off.
I understand. Let's talk about Gilded Lotus.
Are we talking about Gilded Lotus or Jeweled Lotus?
We're talking about Jeweled Lotus.
Got him. So,
Gilded Lotus, I think we actually have talked about quite a bit, but let's talk Jeweled Lotus.
My opinion, as someone who feels like they have their finger to the pulse of EDH, I feel like this card is not a very EDH card. I can't speak to how CEDH will use this. I have a feeling CEDH will use this a lot. I think if you were not using Dark Ritual, Simian Spirit Guide, or Elvish Spirit Guide in your EDH deck, then you don't necessarily want something like this. I feel like there are some decks that might want Jeweled Lotus. I have 15 EDH decks, and not a single one of them wants this. So I'm not saying this is for nobody, but when people call this a format staple, they call this an auto include. I think that's incorrect, and I think the current price is much too high.
It seems to be dropping.
All of those words are words I agree with. Like, this is a card where you read it, you think, "Oh my god, how could they?" And then you like think about it for 35 more seconds, and then you go, "Oh wait, my deck doesn't want." Like, if you're playing Joyra, the new Dominaria Joyra, yes, you're foaming at the mouth for this. That's fine, but like,
if you're playing Urza, everyone already hates you anyway, so just
it's the same. It's the same with Azami, right? Because I look at the card and I think Azami didn't have access to any of those cards you mentioned before, but now Azami can play turn 2 Azami and conveniently have this free counterspell Fierce Guardianship up that they just printed as well. So when I think about Jeweled Lotus, I think you're right. I don't think it's good in that sense, right? I don't think it's an auto include, but I do think the games where it shows up are going to be less fun than the games where it doesn't. So that's why I don't like it.
How would you compare that to games that have Sol Ring in them?
It's very similar. I mean, Sol Ring's banned in my playgroup, so that's how we feel about it, I guess. Like, we just hate the variance that comes from one player having Sol Ring and having 8 more mana over the first 5 turns than anyone else, and that changes games, and it tends to it leads to runaways, or it leads to archenemy games, and neither of those I think are particularly great. And when Jason's right, everything he said about Jeweled Lotus is true. You're not going to play the card in most of the decks, but the decks you are going to play it in are going to do something not fun with it. So why print it? All it does is make unfun things better and more likely to happen.
It helps them sell booster packs of the best set they've ever printed.
Right, and that's
what I don't
like,
get. My God, this doesn't need the boost. For the love of God, this
It's
set
2020
is,
though, man. They just said this set has to sell better than
this
any
set
set before
is
it.
pure fucking propane, right? So
And
like,
we get a Black Lotus, man. It's jumping the shark at this point.
yeah,
It's not even good, but it's just the laziest design you could possibly make, and it makes games worse. Not better.
it's lazy, but at the same time, they really worked hard to make sure it was balanced. But at the
They
same
did.
time,
They did. It's
right,
just
like-
you're right. You won't play it. You won't play it in 15 decks, but I'll play it in my Azami deck and end the game on turn 2, and no one will have fun. It's just like, what are we doing? It just sells booster packs because it's flashy. So it is
like,
what it
this
is. I
set
don't want
sells
to.
booster
Honestly, I
packs
don't
in
want to
this set,
spend.
so like, it
Yeah,
was
well,
unnecessary.
honestly, I don't want
but,
to spend the
like,
whole time
so
complaining
what?
about it
Just,
because
like,
the set's
if you
great.
get them, sell them immediately.
Yeah.
That's what I think.
I mean, this set is just awesome though, right? Let's
gas,
talk about
but
this.
it's
Is
so
the other
good.
big one.
Can we talk about stuff we
This is,
do
I
like?
think. Yeah,
Can I talk about?
Here's one.
You talked about some cards. Can I talk about 5 cards?
Yeah. Go ahead, Jason. Go ahead.
Court of Grace, Cunning Ambition, Ire, and Bounty. I love the Monarch. It's a great mechanic. We didn't have to get a dirtily conspiracy set to get Monarch back. This is fantastic. The Court Cycle in particular, I think, is really cool, but there are a ton of good cards that give the Monarch back. We got another land to go along with Throne of the High City or whatever it was giving people the Monarch before. The Monarch introduces a sub-game where people are encouraged to attack each other, which is good because people don't attack each other enough in EDH, and that's why everyone is completely unprepared to go up against DJ's Thantis deck.
That's true. That is
It's like you
absolutely
have to
true.
hit each other. I will give you shit to hit each other with. The Monarch is such a good mechanic because if you are in control, it's a painless Phyrexian arena. And if you're not in control, people are smacking each other in the head. It's just... Monarch shaves a couple turns off the game. Either you draw enough cards, you get enough card advantage from it to like win faster, or people chip at each other enough that like someone gets in lethal range. Yeah. Either way, it shaves turns off the game. I like short EDH games. I don't want to play for 3 hours. If I play for 3 hours, I want to play 4 games, not 1. So I love the Monarch mechanic. I think all of the courts are pretty solid. I think all of the Monarch cards in this set are nice. I love Keeper Keys and Regal Behemoth. I like Marchesa's Decree. I like Palace Jailer. Monarch is a great mechanic, and they gave us actual good cards. It wasn't just like, here's a 5 mana 3/2 with first strike that makes you the Monarch. They gave us
they actually
good
do
cards.
something. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. Agreed.
I really like the
100%.
mana burn card.
Yeah,
I should say
that's a
plural.
neat
Like plural. There's Yurlok of Scorch Thrash,
one.
which is the Viashino that makes mana burn a rule again, and it also curves really nicely into Thantis. And then there's Belb, Corrupted Observer, which is another card that I'm playing in
Belbay.
Thantis.
Her name is Belbay.
Is it Belbay? Okay, I've actually never
She
known.
has a portal. That's all I know.
She's
I've
the
played-
daughter of someone from like the Weatherlight saga. Man, I used to know. Like I think the Weatherlight crew is my favorite. Like I don't care about a single planeswalker, but like the whole Weatherlight crew, like those people were my shit. So yeah, Belbay's whose daughter was she? I don't know, man. It's been years.
I like
I'm
it because
pretty
it
sure it's
encourages. I mean, I like that for the same reason you like the Monarch. It encourages combat, and it encourages combat that's not going at me. It doesn't prevent combat from going at me. Like, you can still attack me. You're just incentivized to attack other players. I like Belbay. I like Yurlok. I like Thantis, and I like making people attack.
Yeah.
I like Averna.
I'll talk about one that
You can't whiff on
Which one?
Averna the Chaos Bloom.
Oh, the
Or if you
Cascade.
hit a land when you cascade, you get to play it. So you like, it obliges you to like. I was really iffy about playing Shardless Agent in my decks because like Shardless Agent gets you a Signet or a Soul Ring and that's it.
Yeah.
But now Shardless Agent can get you a Signet and a land. It's super duper worth it now.
It's a cool card for sure. I
That's
want to talk
super,
about one. I think,
that's
too.
it's super narrow, but like, let us be excited.
Yeah, no, of course, man. I think that card is really cool. I'm also excited about Keeper of the Accord. The 3-4 for 4
That
and white.
card's kind
White.
of
This card is insane. What?
Okay,
but
I
people
thought
say
Verge
White needed
Rangers
this.
was fine. I was really excited for Verge Rangers because they've come so close to giving White good stuff like Night of the White Orchid,
Yeah.
Boreal Charger,
Yeah.
and now it's just like fuck it, you get all the value. What if Smothering
Yeah.
Tithe was a dude? Like crazy.
Keeper of the Accord is a 3-4 for 4. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if they control more creatures than you, you get a 1/1. At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if they have more lands than you, you get a basic planes and put it into play. Tap.
Dumb.
That is absurd.
Dumb. What a good card.
White needed it, according to, I guess, the people who talk about this
Yeah.
and care about,
Yeah.
looking at all the different colors.
As a player who occasionally puts some white in their deck, I was just like, oh, Verge Rangers, that's what we get. This is so much better than Verge Rangers. Like,
Yeah.
I bought a bunch of copies of Verge Ranger because I'm like, well, this is pretty good. This is probably the best we're going to get for a while. And then 2 months later, I look like a moron.
Well, it's 2020. If at any point you thought they were going to not print something better over the past 2 years, you've been wrong. So
Well,
it's
speaking
understandable.
of things
to
getting
be fair.
better, Blim Comedic Genius may be a better Ineas because you have way nastier enchantments to donate. I like my Ineas deck because, like, if you hit them with if you attack with 3 flyers, you can give someone a Thought Lash or a Transcendence or make them take 20 damage with Illusions of Grandeur.
Illusions
Blim's
of Grandeur, baby.
Take a Oath of Limb Duel. Take a Lich. Every card with Lich in the name is in play now because Blim, if you hit them with your 4/3 flyer, which seems pretty doable, if you hit them
Especially
with a
in
4/3
color
flyer,
that has mass
you
hysteria
give-
and
Yeah, lots of removal.
you give them a card that has Lich in the name and they lose the game on the next turn. It's amazing. You have
Well, that
Harmless
certainly makes them
Offering,
financially
but
relevant.
like Bizarre
but-
Trader couldn't give people enchantments before.
Oh my
So
god,
it was-
I have hundreds of Bizarre Traders. Please, somebody.
not
yeah,
happening.
Red
buddy.
and
That
Black
ship has
really
sailed.
struggled to give people anything suitably shitty that would kill them. Blim just gives them a hot potato that's... I mean, Ineas gives them a hot potato. Blim gives them a cooked grenade. It's like, here you go. You can't draw another card the rest of the game, and if there's no cards in your graveyard, you lose. Good luck. This rare from Mirage when we didn't know how to make black magic cards good.
I have another. There's one other card I want to talk about in this set, and that card is Thrasios, Trident Hero.
Oh, right.
I want to talk about this card because on this podcast, I believe one Jason Alt spicy bet me that Thrasios would in fact not be in the set.
JJ can cut the clip in. JJ can cut the clip in. Like the
Yes.
whole memory fade, like the sparkly shimmer, and then the
Let's see it,
flashback.
JJ.
And put it in black and white if you can.
Because here's why Thrasios and Timna and all the other $50 ones are definitely 100% not in the set, because they said they didn't want the new partners to be those cards. They're like, we were testing them for years to make sure we don't accidentally make another Thrasios. So they're not going to say, oh, we don't want these cards to be Thrasios, and then like, but we will partner them with Thrasios in a draft. Eat it. There's no way.
But we will partner them with Thrasios in a draft. There's no way.
I would spicy peanut bet that Thrasios is not in the set.
with him, yeah.
I didn't think
In
those
memorandum
madmen
music.
would do it. I didn't think they would do it, but hey,
Oh,
we-
they did it, buddy.
we took some of the money that you gave us by going to patreon.com/BSB for as little as $1 a month, which is 20 or 25 cents an episode. You can have access to the Discord server where you can personally talk some shit to me for making a spicy bet. We took some of that Patreon money and bought the Death Nut Challenge gift set, which has spicy corn nuts, a t-shirt, like all kind of spicy peanuts, all kind of murderous stuff. So I don't know what out of that gift set I'm going to be eating, but it won't be pleasant. And Corbin
And
won't
it's
be
gonna
eating
be
along
hot.
with me, and he will be laughing at
Wait.
me. So
Is it going to be the t-shirt?
that's not a peanut. So
Does it have a peanut on it?
No. even if it did, I would just eat that portion of the shirt that had the peanut on it. I would cut it out, and I would probably be fine. Dude, I'm not.
Checks out.
Fair enough.
So I'm from Michigan. There's a guy from Michigan, an old Magic pro named Eric David Taylor, who's like just a mainstay in the Michigan Magic community. And he bet if Kai Booty won the Pro Tour that he would eat his hat. And like he didn't like out and be like, "Oh, I meant my Carmen Miranda fruit hat," and then he just ate a fruit salad. He ripped pieces off his literal baseball cap and dipped them in ketchup and tried to eat them. And like, if you Google EDT eats hat MTG, I feel like the article that was on like the official Wizard site will come up where someone
It
chronicled him.
sure
eating
does,
his hat.
buddy. Eric
Yeah.
Taylor eats his hat.
Yeah. So,
Wow, I'm seeing a picture of him.
Yeah.
Ben Blyweiss wrote this article.
Yeah.
This is funny. What
So,
year is this from? Jeez,
That
Jason,
dude's
what a
awesome.
story.
Like he's
Oh my
he's
God,
the
he's got-
coolest guy. I
Oh
love
my
talking to him
gosh.
at tournaments, and like the fact that he didn't back down from his bet. He ate his hat. He
Listen
ate
to
enough
this.
of it that everyone watching was like, "Please, no more."
Around
So-
the third mouthful, EDT began to wish he had a nacho hat. This is terrible, he screamed, banging his jaw against the table to force the hat down. This attracted the attention of Rob Doherty from the Boston. "You're crazy," he admonished in the typical "your move games" tone. Eric just shook his head, gritted his teeth, and said, "I have to do this." The fourth helping of hat brought Taylor to his knees. He pounded mightily and made faces akin to that of a man who had to lick the rim of a public toilet. In one fell swoop, he popped off the top of his bottle of ketchup and began to chug the tomato product, hoping to wash down his meal.
So you know what?
Ben Blyweiss, you have never written anything better. I'm sorry, you just haven't. That's the way it is. I understand. We all peak at some point. It's just natural. You peaked when you wrote those paragraphs, Ben
This
Blyweiss.
game is the best. You meet the best people, and you know what? If EDT can eat a hat, I can eat a peanut. I don't really care how hot it is. It's gonna be hot.
That was.
I'm not
that was a
gonna
great
enjoy
story,
it, but
Jason.
I took a risk.
All
took a
right,
risk.
well, there you go. Okay.
So?
I'm gonna take a risk on my pick of the week here.
Pick of the week, pick of the week, pick of the week. Time for the pick of the week.
Take a risk on my pick of the week here because I'm gonna go with a very recently reprinted card that's had a couple reprints. So, pick of the week for me is Eladamri's Call.
This
so
was recently reprinted in a Masters set.
I mean, recently is up to
right,
your-
and that's why I'm looking at this card because listen, this card was in Modern Horizons, which in some worlds was 2019,
Oh, it was
but in
Modern
other
Horizons.
worlds was 5 years ago. It was also in Masters 25, and then the original Plane Shift. But as DJ said, that's starting to be a little more in the past. And Eladamri's Call is a very, very powerful effect. Of course, green-white, instant speed. Search for creature. It was a $10 card and rising before the reprints. It has steadily been rising since the reprints. I really like getting in at Eladamri's Call at $4 on the Modern Horizons or Masters version, $4 to $5 for this card. I think it's going to take a while to go back up, but it scales with the power of your creatures, and we know how that's going in Commander these days. So I'm a big fan of the card.
It's in like almost a quarter of eligible decks.
Yeah,
Like over 20% of eligible decks. Like this is in a lot of EDH stuff, and a lot of stuff that uses it was printed recently. Yasharn,
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Implacable
Everything's
Earth,
always
Amiel the
gonna use
Blessed,
it.
Sisay, Chulane. A lot of this stuff is fairly recent, so like there are lots of reasons to run something like this, and the fact this is under $5, I think it's
Yeah.
a slam dunk. Despite being
absolutely.
printed 2 times within a 24-month period. I think
Well,
it's-
that just made them cheap, so
Yep.
we could get them now.
I have a cheap card also, but I don't think it's going to stay that way for much longer. This is a card that is predicated on a card DJ talked about. Yurlok of Scorched Thrash. Yurlok was the deck that got people playing Snuff Out again, and that's why that was my Breaking Bulk. My pick of the week is also predicated on Yurlok. I really like the Invasion enchantment over Abundance. Whenever a player taps a land for mana, that player adds 1 additional mana to his or her mana pool of the same type, and over Abundance deals 1 damage to him or her. Lots of people are going to be running Mana Barbs effects in Yurlok. Over Abundance gives them more mana than they were planning on, and if they can take mana burn from it, so much the better. Plus, you are set up to take a little bit of damage in Yurlok. You just like, that's a thing that's going to happen. So this is like a mana flare also. So Overabundance is showing up in a ton of those decks. Like if you look at like it's a handful. It's under 100 Yurlok decks right now, but 75% of them are running Overabundance. So this is a Yurlok card.
Wow.
It's under $5. It's an invasion rare. Get these.
Say,
Pick your
Jason,
Citadels of Pain out of bulk. Grab your Mana Barbs and Mana Flares while you're at it. But like Overabundance is just a slam dunk. Goes to $10, goes back to $5, but you've got months to get out of them. So, like, if you can get these for $3-4, you know, they were even cheaper than that before Yurlok was printed. If you can get them for their old price at your LGS that just, like, has them in a binder or whatever, get out of these above $5, and it's just free money.
I am...
All right. That's a great one. DJ?
I am of the same mind in our mana burn effects. You already mentioned my pick of the week, which is Citadel of Pain.
Yeah.
If you are not a experienced player, you may not have ever heard of this card.
One.
It is a prophecy enchantment along
that
the line.
Was a great
so it is more.
Set.
Wow, what art too!
It is more rare than Rhystic Study. I'll put it that way.
I've never seen this card in my life. This is crazy.
And
or maybe
at the beginning of each player's, at the end of each player's turn, this is a 3-mana red enchantment. At the end of each player's turn, Citadel of Pain deals X damage to that player, where X is the number of untapped lands he or she controls, or they. So this works really well with prison commanders like Mogis or Zozu or Kavark or any other sort of red get games done quick kind of commander, but it really shines in that Yurlok deck because he has mana burn abilities. So it's a damned if you do, damned if you don't. You are taking that damage regardless.
There was a deck called Thundercats back during when Prophecy was like legal and standard. You played Scoria Cat, which is a 3/3 for 5 that became a 6/6 if you had no untapped lands. So you would use Chimeric Idol to tap all your lands. You would use, I think it was Apocalypse. It was some like blow up all lands and creatures sort of spell to just blow everything up. And then you had no lands, and then you were just hitting with a 6/6 Scoria Cat. They couldn't fight back. Citadel of Pain was chipping them all the time if they had any untapped lands. It was brutal. So like Prophecy was kind of a terrible set, but like I really kind of liked the tap all your lands stuff because
I mean this is a cool card actually. This is a really neat card.
Yeah, but like blue was good too because you had like 8 free counterspells in standard.
The sub theme they tried to create with the Prophecy set was really neat.
Yeah,
like giving the whole Punisher mechanic of like Rhystic Study itself, obviously, but like Rhystic Tutor and just like the manipulation of like what lands were untapped. Obviously, it didn't work out in practice, but the theory was interesting.
Well, it's certainly an area of design I don't think they've really approached since.
The rest of the block was powerful. The block before it was powerful, and the block like who's gonna dick around with Citadel of Pain where Lin Civi is legal, right?
Yeah.
It's like, why would you just not play Lin Civi Rebels with like 4 copies of Absorb? Like, I don't give a shit about your Citadel of Pain. So they had to ban a bunch of stuff to make people care about Prophecy. But once they did, it was a lot of fun.
In principle, though, it is a cool aspect of design that we don't really see him do, is the playing with the idea of not just lands or untapped lands, but basically trying to make lands a mechanic in a set outside of Landfall, which is the only one I think they've really found that worked. That works as a mechanic. Like clearly the things they tried in Prophecy did not work then. I'd be interested to see what a take on that now would look like. But
can you imagine?
Citadel of Pain is a cool card.
Can you imagine a standard player dealing with "Did you pay the 1"?
I don't think that card would be very good. I don't think
It
Ristic Study
wasn't.
would be good. In
No,
Standard,
not
yeah.
Ristic Study as a card, but just the concept of a metagame where
Yeah.
"did you pay the one" is a common phrase.
Yeah.
Can you imagine your average Magic player dealing with that mental strain?
That's a good
They'd be
point.
apple-
Commander
Apoplectic,
players
they
are
couldn't handle
commander players are hardened. They're battle hardened to the ways
Yeah.
of Ristic. But
Will you pay
introducing
one for
that
that?
concept to an average Grand Prix and just hearing that phrase echo throughout the room as I'm buying cards. Whoo! Whoo!
Well, that's a good point, DJ.
They aren't ready for Smothering Tide. They haven't been acclimated to Ristics. You can't go from 0 to 2. You gotta slide some Ristics in there. And it wasn't just Ristic Study. Ristic Lightning was good. It was like a 3 mana, 4 damage spell if they didn't pay 2. Ristic Cave was like an uncommon land that tapped for a mana of any color unless they paid mana. Oh, so good.
That
There
is
were
cool.
creatures
That's
that got first strike unless your opponent paid mana to remove it. There were creatures that flew unless their opponents paid mana. Oh, it was just prophecy
what
in
a time to be alive is what
vacuum.
you're saying.
like prophecy in a vacuum was good, but like you had to play it like one sealed deck of Mercadian Masks and like 2 booster packs of prophecy, sort of a limited. So like,
And then you got to a good format.
yeah, but no,
Sure.
that it wasn't enough prophecy.
Yeah,
Because
I
everyone was
understand,
just playing
I
good Mercadian Mask shit, and then it's like, oh, I guess I'll play my Reveille squad. Like it was Magic was weird back then. They didn't really know what they were doing.
understand.
Block constructed was weird. Like limited was
Block
weird.
was a thing, yeah. Well, we're gonna keep it weird, and we're gonna talk about these weird Patreon perks we've got. So, all right, well, let's jump into it. End of the year perks. If you're new to the cast, every year we like to do what we can to give our patrons a little something extra, and we honestly, this podcast is made possible by our generous patrons. We put a lot of work into the Patreon, and we want it to be good, and that's why we came up with this on our own. I don't know that this is something other podcasts or creators do, but we like to give everybody who subscribed at the end of the year a little something special, and every year it's something different. We've done some fun stuff in the past. We've burned a chair memorably. We've had some great stuff. So we want to thank everybody who is a member of the Patreon. And if you are not a member of the Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/BSB. And so long as you are a member at the end of December 31st, 2020, if you are there when we flip the month over to January and are subscribed, you will get these perks. So
As soon as the ball drops, if you're standing in that crowded, piss-covered parking lot in New York City, as soon as the ball drops, that is when the line is cut off. So 11:59 p.m. at the end of this hellscape of a year
yeah,
is when we draw the line.
Oh,
And
it's
look,
the end
we-
of the house. Like you think 2021 is going to be better?
No, I
think
just
there's
said
gonna be
at the
something
end
to
of-
look
I said-
forward to. Yeah.
I said at the end of the this hellscape of a
Yeah.
year. I didn't say there's not another one coming.
You know what's coming in 2021? Zombie apocalypse.
I hope so.
Like
Maybe.
zombie Alex Trebek is like, I'm gonna have to shoot.
Come
Alex
on, man,
Trebek.
too
It'll be
soon.
Me,
Too soon.
I'll have to do it. Yeah, I know it's too soon. I haven't even had time to properly grieve, and now he's hungry for my brains.
Do you guys have a zombie
And I have to
apocalypse
double
plan?
tap him.
I'm not going to be good in the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, my zombie apocalypse plan is to die right away because I live in the suburbs.
I have 3 plans in my life. The first is what I'm going to have for breakfast tomorrow. The second is a zombie apocalypse plan. And the third is a long-term pyramid scheme style grift that will net me a religious organization towards the end of my life. Everything else is just pure chaos and randomness, and I would not have it any other way.
That sounds like it was on a T-shirt that you can only buy an 8-chan.
That's a long monologue for a t-shirt.
Yeah, it goes on the back. It's like I've seen twice as long talking about being a forklift operator.
Well, let's talk Patreon. Look, we understand that, as DJ mentioned, it is a hellscape of a year. Frankly, on a personal level, I think we've
Can I
all been
give some
struggling.
people some advice? If you are a patron, if you're someone who went to patreon.com/BSB, and it's coming up on the end of the year, you know we're doing more rewards. Hey, why don't you make sure your address is correct in Patreon? Because I would hate to get your glasses and water bottle sent back to me, because what am I going to do with them? So get your address correct in Patreon.
There you go. Well,
so we can actually convey your stuff to you. I'm not saying a bunch of stuff got kicked back and then we lit $15 on fire, but that is exactly what happened.
Let's talk end of the year perks, and we understand if you all cannot contribute, and that's okay. But for people who are, starting at $1, now you might know if you listen to this podcast that we have a generous sponsor, and they're channelfireball.com, and we always encourage everybody to go to our sponsor and check out their content, check out the store, send them your cards in a box. You know the pitch, and as a matter of fact, we've had some pretty memorable pitches over the months. I think more than a year at this point. Jason has put some pretty good ones out there. So if you are a $1 patron, just a measly $1 a month or 20 or 25 cents an episode, you will get a best of CFB ad read. JJ has been piecing them together, all the Jason off on a tangent, firing your balls. We're going to put it all together in a best of reel that everybody who is a $1 patron will get.
And up.
Of course, yes. Everything is and up. So at the $2 level, now this is where I have to say that I don't know about this one, but what we've agreed to do is run back the B-Dubs challenge for everybody who's $2 and up. If you all recall, the B-Dubs challenge was a goal we did last year, more than a year ago at this point, where we said everybody who contributes more between now and then, cutoff date, that's one day that Corbin Hostler cannot go to Buffalo Wild Wings. And that ended in October. And you know what?
It was like
I've had
10
a couple.
months, right?
It was a year. It was a year. We capped it at a year. The response was very strong, but you know what? That clock ran out in October, y'all, and I've been having some Buffalo Wild Wings. But we are bringing it back. So we're going to look at our Patreon when we record here on 11/16. And whatever changes between now and the end of the year on the Patreon, whatever amount goes up, we will do the same thing. Every dollar is a day that I will not eat Buffalo Wild Wings, and I will not, as these guys say, destroy my body with unhealthy food. So for every dollar, I will
That's
go a
not
day.
true. You will destroy your body with unhealthful food, but it won't be Buffalo Wild Wings specifically.
You know, I did try to eat a little better when Buffalo Wild Wings was out of my life. It kind of shook me out of it, made me break some habits, but I have enjoyed it going back. But that's where we're at for $2 and up. Everybody who's at that level and up will contribute to that. So if you were going to give $1 to get in on it, may as well give another $1 and cause me some pain. DJ, why don't you take the $5 level?
Yeah, I'm really excited about the $5s and the $10 level because these are a little close to my heart. Our favorite, or at least my favorite preview card we have ever gotten is the Cycle of Talismans from Modern Horizons. They are iconic. They're in everyone's commander decks. They are just like a pure example of like one of the best cycles to complete in the past like 15 years or so. And we got to preview them, and we're really happy with that. We're really happy with how the video came out. And so we are commissioning custom talisman proxies that will go out to the $5 and $10 patrons. So these will be signed tokens that are custom made by us. The art will be done by a very popular Magic content creator, and they will have a lot of memes in the art. There'll be references. They'll be just very iconic and very dear to your heart. So the $5 patrons will get one random talisman. You might get Talisman of Hierarchy. You might get Talisman of Curiosity, Conviction, Resilience, and
I don't know the answer.
The other one.
Can't help
The
you.
other.
He did
I said
that
Curiosity. That's okay.
Well, that's the important one. That's
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
So yeah, the $5 patrons will get a signed talisman, and if it's one that you don't necessarily play or one that you don't have a deck ready for, well, you can trade them around in our Discord. You can find somebody else who has the one you're looking for. But if you're at the $10 level, $10 a month, you get one of each. So you'll have one of every token. These will all be signed by us, and they will be alternate art.
They're pretty cool. I gotta
pure-
say, we've seen the sketches right now. They look pretty nice. So I think you all will be happy to get your hands on them. But we do have one more perk for the 20 and up. This includes our $40 patrons, who are basically the most generous people in the world. Honestly, we say if you're a $40 patron, you want to play a game with us when we stream, come play a game with us. We'll play whatever you want. And they say, no, we don't want to. We just want to support you all. So I have to say, we really do appreciate that more than we ever can say, I think, on an episode. So here's what we're going to do. For $20 and $40 patrons, we have custom-made Brainstorm Brewery dice. We racked our brains. We said, what do people need? Do people need tokens? Well, they don't just need any tokens, so we're going to do some special ones. Well, do they need playmats? Well, we've done playmats. But you know what people always need and always seem to be borrowing from people? Dice, as DJ showed. So custom Brainstorm Brewery dice here with a logo, as you probably can't see, but I'll hold it up. DJ's got a better one. It's nice and close here. I'm trying so hard to get it up on this camera, y'all.
That's okay, Corbin. You tried.
Trying
I
so
did try.
hard.
You know
to
what,
get
JJ
it
can
up
just
on
put
camera.
JJ you just take a picture of these and put them up. But they are pretty cool. We used them when we streamed our usual Hangover Hangout stream on Monday before we casted. So everybody, those are the Patreon perks, and we really, really do appreciate anybody who gives and continues to give, and anybody who can't give but listens. We do appreciate you too, and we want to say that. So, all right, everybody. Well, I think that does it for us this week. We will be back next week. As a matter of fact, next week is a holiday, and I think we have something special in the works. So look for that next week. Thank you so much for listening, everybody. Remember, if you want to jump in on the Patreon, now's a great time. And if not, that's okay too. We will be back next week as always. We're Brainstorm Brewery.
Stay safe and healthy, everybody. Corbin, your screen just went green.
No,